Today, we're going to discuss, debate a motion, an idea. Here's the motion. This house, that's us, all of us, believes that the world has a brighter future in our hands. Our means everybody here except me, the plurality of you. It's about your generation. This house believes, we believe, that the world has a brighter future when you're grown up. That's what it means. So maybe you will be optimistic, like the people on your right, who believe in the motion they are proposing. Or maybe you're rather pessimistic, like the people on your left. They oppose the motion, they think it's wrong. So we will be working our way through a lot of speeches, lots of things for you to think about, and later you'll have your chance to speak, you'll have your chance after that to vote. And I think that when you come to vote, your vote will be based on the arguments you've heard. And at the same time, you will be assessing them, you'll be judging them in your mind, politely, but critically, to decide just how good was that speaker. Did he or she prepare it well? Did they have some important points? Did they speak clearly? Did they persuade us? And is that something I'm going to do next time? Okay. Without more ado, I will invite you, Mr. Bertie Hughes, to propose the motion.
By voting against the motion, you'd be saying we were a lousy generation. You'd be saying we were no clever and no different to our parents and grandparents. Of course I understand that they, as well as us, have dealt some damage to the world, but we live in constant progression. Obviously, this hard-working, the deluded side will try convincing the more gullible ones of you that you cannot stop global warming. But of course you can, to the extent that all noticeable harm will be fixed, and we will be the exceptional generation who do. We are endlessly making scientific advancements. Education is better than ever before. Technology is safely improving brilliant amounts, as my wise, sensible colleagues there will tell you. And with all this incredible aid that older people did not have, we will solve the problem of climate change, and a huge amount more. The only other things we need are your courage and determination. With that, I am sure we can be successful. You're already reacting to the threat of climate change with incredible effect. This very day has been made World Action Day for Climate Change, inspired by Greta Thunberg, who is barely older than you. More than 100,000 people have gathered in Melbourne, Australia, in protest of the damage we created. These people have already attracted the attention of the government, and of course, there are now some people desperately trying to find a solution. These people are from our generation, and we are the ones who realize the actions we must take. Another key example of one of the clever people who are finding brilliant ways to fix our problems is of course the genius Elon Musk, who uses his own ingenuity to create harmless, better ways of living to replace those which we now know are dangerous. With just a few more people like him, we do not need to be especially clever, but only creative and actually brave enough to make a difference. The world has become a completely safe, far more brilliant place. If you vote for us, you will instantly become one of those heroic people who are part of the world's great movement of current improvement. We do not take the pointless, immature, gloom and doom approach, the pessimistic attitude of, oh, when Joe's heard it, we're all going today, oh, blame me in the poor world, I better scroll back into my gloomy little hole and blame me when you figure out the case of the oh. Because to assure you, some clever ones of you will be able to understand, even after this size section, almost all great speeches, except in those still decent work. That is rubbish. The world is making far more advancements in problems at the moment, and we're even fixing the problems. So, by definition, we have a better future in our hands. There isn't one on this side, some say, because we're all pessimistic and too scared to try doing well, which means our hands are all tiny, like weak, fat, and selfish. So do not have weak hands. Be strong, optimistic, and still realistic. And do not be so stubborn that you do not make the decision, which is of course right, and accept that the world is becoming a better place.
Now it's the turn of Mr. Henry Holmes to oppose the motion.
The fact that climate change is one of the most talked about topics right now. It's one of the reasons we are going to be talking about it. As you know, if we don't do anything about it, then we will have our children, grandchildren, and even great-grandchildren accusing us of making their lives miserable, but they will have to deal with it. So imagine Bertie has a great-granddaughter. Let's call her Judith. She grew up with everyone talking about climate change, and she was getting worried sick about what it could do. Then, when she found out that her great-grandfather was partly responsible for it, she'd end up cursing him for trying to say that we did have a brighter future in our hands, when really we don't. Secondly, sources from some scientists say that in around 12 years, the damage that climate change would have done to this planet would be almost impossible to mend. And at the rate most people are doing things, or not doing anything at all, the world will get worse and worse until there is no hope at all. Also, in 2015 alone, there were a reported 211 terrorist attacks, leading to over double the amount of deaths and injuries. Now this was only in Europe alone, and since then, there have been countless more occasions when terrorists have entered into the country and killed many people. Sadly, a terrorist attack is aimed at religious groups. That may cause people to think twice about what they are saying and who they believe in, which shouldn't be the case. However, if we go back to the 1970s, on the 20th of September 1979, there was a terrorist attack in Saudi Arabia. It resulted in 244 deaths and 180 injuries. Also, on the 23rd of October 1983, there was a terrorist attack in Lebanon. It killed 307 people and injured 75. The list does go on, but I don't have enough time to say it. My point is that with the way things are heading and the way people are thinking, the world does not look like it is going to get better. Finally, in the Tuesday paper, William Hague, the former Conservative Party leader, says that the main reason the oil wells in Saudi Arabian attacks were bombed was because of drones. They're so small that they got through the defense undetected. This is a major crisis, because as soon as we get better tech, there's going to be something more advanced that can damage us. This could inflame the Middle East, already a dangerous part of the world, and it's a sign of more dangerous attacks in the future. If you feel like voting for the motion, that is up to you, but we all know it is the wrong option. Therefore, you should vote against the motion. The truth will always be the truth. You can't deny it.
Starting us off so well. So now we move on to Mr. Cameron, who will propose.
Now, what do we all hear a lot of every day? The future. I know there will be a better future in our hands because if you look at it, we only had the TV in the early 20th century, and at that time, the screen was about the size of a A4 piece of paper. You would have to tune it in, and there were very, very few channels. Now, that's different today. There are hundreds of channels, and you can just say a name, and the TV turns on. Would you say that's an improvement? In 1879, as some of you may know, the light bulb was invented. This was life-changing, but if you compare it to now, it is just simple. Now we have LEDs and we can control lights from our phones. Who has a phone here? I knew a lot. Can you imagine using the first smartphone? It was only invented in 1992. We now have the iPhone 11 and the Samsung A90 5G. Oh yes, I forgot to mention about 5G. It will be so useful. It's going to make everything faster, and we need it with the amount of people using the internet doubling per year. It will revolutionise the way we use the internet again. Don't be downhearted by all this technology and think it will make us unemployed. It will not. It will do the opposite. There are plenty of jobs out there, and one of the good results of this technology is it will make new jobs possible. In fact, Britain has never had such a small amount of unemployment than it has now. With new tech, we can also use it to help with new medicine. At this moment in time, diabetes is an illness you can live through, but it's incurable. In the future, there will be cures. This is the same with many other illnesses and diseases that you can think of. There will be some that we will not be able to find the cure for, but with the new technology, we can help monitor it from our home and it will mean less visits to the doctor. Now, if you also look at the average life expectancy. It's gone from in the 1950s to being 65 years old. In 1971, it had grown to 72, and now, in 2017, it was 83 years old. If you look at the improvement, it has been considerable. If you look at how 200 million deaths annually were caused by malaria in the 1950s, and now the death toll is only 435,000 people, this is the difference. When I searched up jobs that have a shortage, I was surprised to find that they need more civil engineers in the oil and gas industries, as well as doctors, nurses, and even architects. So, you see, there are plenty of opportunities in the future. We will be filling up those jobs while the robots automate others. My final point before I finish is that don't ever believe that the robots will take over the world. We made them, so we will control them. That is all alone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now Mr. James Hathaway to propose.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, will never be able to have feelings like love or hate. However, what makes these powerful machines a threat is their potential ability to fire deadly missiles or kill thousands of people if they were to be in the wrong hands. One slip or miscalculation of a harmless scientist could result in the death of a small number of people, or even a whole country. Imagine Maria right there. When she grows older, she's going to become chief scientist in the development of a robot that has the ability to destroy thousands of homes. And, oh no, all of your homes just got destroyed. Is this a brighter future? I don't think so. The world has a total of 13,890 nuclear warheads. That's 13,890, and each one of them has the ability to wipe out a continent. At this point in time, if you have any common sense, you should vote against the motion, because the future really isn't looking bright. I'm sure you all know about deforestation and the terrible things that humans are doing to our rainforests. But what if I told you that in less than 100 years there will be no rainforest left? Imagine your poor great-grandchildren not being able to experience the rainforest for themselves because we, yes, the same generation of ancestors that they look up to, destroyed all of them. Do you really call that future greater? 22,854,050 acres of rainforest has been cut down this year. That's like 20 football fields a minute, and that was only on Monday. Who knows how many have been cut down today? Whilst these optimistic, hopeful, but wrong children on the other side try to tell you that the future is bright, we on our side tell you the truth, and believe me, the future isn't looking bright at all. Vote against the motion for no more lies and deceit. The truth will always be the truth, no matter if you choose to deny it.
Now let's just pause for a little moment and have a think. So just look at the four we've listened to, you'll get the others in a moment, and think, now what did he tell me about? Which particular points have been raised? What do I think about this issue and that issue? And over the next 10 minutes or so, as we hear the remaining speeches, you might find yourself formulating a question in your mind, something that you can ask to one side or the other, perhaps to an individual, or a point that you want to make that hasn't been mentioned. Because you're all going to get your chance. So be thinking, what do I agree with? What do I disagree with? And what do I want to say when I get up on my feet? Now I'm going to invite Mr. Toby Kilmartin to propose the motion.
I'm going to be talking about climate change and how to stop it. And I'm afraid to all you James Hathaways, Henry Holmes, Tom DeBurners, and B twins up there, that it's going to require actual work and not crying in a corner. We need to make cleaner and more renewable energy. Solar panels, for instance, are becoming cheaper and much more effective. If you buy some, they will pay back on what you save. Okay, so raise your hand if you're a sustainability group here at school. You are helping the world. You are removing waste, you are helping them wherever you are, and you're getting the word out there to help people change. On Monday, James came up to me and said, "You know you can't stop climate change, right? You can only delay it." What does plant life do? It takes carbon dioxide out of the air, uses the carbon and puts out oxygen. This is the main reason we must stop the rainforest being cutting down. We can do this by using much less paper. We use way too much. And to all you teachers, maybe you could whip out the paper from textbooks that are about to be thrown up. And unlike Mr. Harding, not blow a hole in them. The search browser Ecosia, which is real, it does help, has planted 6,800,000 trees. It may be only a search browser, but it's helping, and everything that helps is useful. For instance, the world was plagued by disease until one scientist slept too long and found that the molds that grew on his experiments could save millions. And it did. This was penicillin, the first antibiotic. Small things will be our saviour. There is plastic in the oceans. As you may have guessed, this is not a good thing. There are hundreds of ideas out there to combat the plastic in the oceans and remove it. For instance, System 001, which is placed in the ocean for an hour, gathers all the plastic around it, and then is picked up and the plastic is removed properly. These machines are already out there and fixing the planet. Greta Thunberg is an ordinary schoolgirl making headlines all over the world for not going to school and trying to help the planet. She has done a lot of speeches and is getting to the news to people who don't know about climate change or don't believe it, like Trump supporters. Take an on look at Tom. Does he look like someone who believes climate change is a hoax? We all know he does. But Greta is teaching people like Tom that climate change is real and that it's not a good thing. We need to support her and people like her's ideas because she's right, it is the older generation who has caused this and who are refusing to change. And, well, we need them to. It is our future, and by voting for against, you are abandoning your future, you are abandoning my future, you are abandoning Bertie's future, you are abandoning everyone's future. I hope this has changed your mind.
Member of the opposite side. So here, Mr. Tom DeBono, is your opportunity to swipe back.
Picture this. George Bogwood is at home in 2029. He's just eaten lunch, a burger with tomato relish. He turns on the TV and suddenly, newsflash, asteroid hurtling towards Earth. There's nothing you can do about it. The impact would create a crater 3 miles wide, destroying a city like London if it hit it, and would trigger tsunamis, and many other countries wouldn't be able to cope with the amount of crop damage done by ash collecting in the atmosphere. And NASA predicts that closest, an asteroid 400 meters wide would brush past Earth at 70,000 miles an hour. Due to gravitational keyholes, when gravity from a planet alters an asteroid's course to hit on another orbit, in this case 2036, another unforeseen factors could alter its course. This nearly happened in July of this year, when an asteroid named OK, large enough to destroy a small city, came within 1/5 of the distance to us the Moon is to us. Due to its size, it was only discovered a few days before it hurtled past the Earth. People are now living longer, and the population is on the rise. For every person that dies, 2 people are born. 2 people die every second. With the population on the rise, there is more demand for everything. So we grow more food and build more houses. So when natural hits, there are many more casualties because of the number of houses and their space areas. Supervolcanoes like Yellowstone, if erupted, could destroy the USA, and without the USA, the West's main nuclear superpower, the UK and most of Europe would be finished by nuclear powers in the East. American scientist Heather Truly said, "It's safe to say that when Yellowstone supervolcano erupts, it will be a catastrophic disaster that will change our entire planet. Populations, animals, plant life, and the vast majority of anything standing is believed to be wiped out. Oh, and Yellowstone is overdue an eruption." Everyone here loves their devices, from Xboxes to iPhones. But have you ever considered the damage it can do? Take for instance WannaCry. This was a ransomware attack in which the victim's files are encrypted, and to get them back, you have to pay a hefty sum of money. The victim in this case was the NHS, who had to pay £92 million in replacing faulty computers and other IT problems. So you see, technology is also a terrible danger to us. While computer games get better and better, the danger of hacking, malware, cyberbullying, and sophisticated terrorism grow greater every day. Going back to my previous point on long life, the longer you live, the more chance you live to see the end of the world. I do not want to sound pessimistic, but I will. You and I both want to believe in emotion, but the truth is the truth, and you can't deny it. Face the facts and vote against emotion.
Thank you very much. Days of equality, ladies don't have to go first, but perhaps we've saved the best for last. Let's see. Maria Burkina.
No one in this room knows exactly what the Earth is facing. It could hold a bright future, but it could explode in the next 10 minutes. But what we have to do is be optimistic and believe that there is hope and we can save it if we want to. Another problem the Earth is facing is crime. But will it really be that bad in the future? The crime survey for England and Wales showed that crime is currently at its lowest level and has decreased by a dramatic 31% since 1981 and a fall of 2% in the previous 5 years. For example, CSEW estimated a 13% decrease in offences involving criminal damage and a 31% decrease involving computer misuse. Of course, we can't fully stop crime, but what we can do is try and prevent it happening to us as individuals. Small things like always locking your doors, trimming trees and shrubs around the house, using alarm systems, and asking photo ID from delivery people will have a huge impact and will lower your chance, if not completely prevent crime happening to you. Think about criminals. They're also people, not some kind of monsters. I'm not saying that committed crime is okay, but people can change. For example, a man called Jeremy Meeks was arrested, and it was on the news. The founder of a famous modelling agency saw him and scouted him. So as soon as he got out of prison, he became a famous model. The agency now helps ex-prisoners become better people. Everyone makes mistakes, and everyone has a chance of holding a brighter future and helping others. Science, as we know, is progressing more and more every day. We all know police officers respond to crimes after they have happened. But what if police could learn about the crimes before they occur and take steps to prevent them? There's a new approach called predicting policing. This is a high-tech approach to public safety that uses data about previous crimes to predict new criminal acts. In other words, the police will soon be much better at catching criminals and preventing crime. Another thing that people are worried about is politics. In this country, it's Brexit. They say Brexit has caused trouble for the past 3 years, but that is wrong. Brexit has happened yet. It is because it hasn't happened that there has been trouble. Soon, Boris Johnson is going to make it happen with the UK's European friends. And then the problems will fade away. Instead, Britain will be able to settle down to make the most of all the good things like improved healthcare, better education, cleaner energy, reduced carbon emissions, lower knife crime, and all the other newspapers, socialist ones and communist ones, exaggerate the problem in order to make them sound more interesting and try to win votes away for the government. Don't listen to their stories of disaster. The Brexit muddle is nearly sorted and things will soon improve.
Our final speaker is Pete Twitch.
Justin Trudeau, Boris Johnson, Donald Trump, Kim Jong-un, and Emmanuel Macron are some of the names popping up more and more in headlines recently. But why, I really wonder? Because of the devastating events happening in their countries. Let's take Bailey. He's sitting at home and he decides he wants to put his thrilling book down and turn on the TV. The BBC News flashes on the screen. The headline reads, "Another mass shooting in America." Bailey, being a weak and emotional soul, finds this horrifying. Well, let's face it, we all do. Bailey is quick to turn off the TV and return to reading Evelyn the Rainbow Fairy. Very manly, Bailey. But this is no joke. In America, for every 100 residents, there is 120.5 guns. Now the thing popping into everyone's head is, but not everyone owns a gun. And yes, this is right. But it means that most of the people that do own more than just one. So while everything is sweet, cuddly, and positive and happy, and magical rainbows for the other team, who are telling us everything in the future is going to be wonderful. Really? Is it? Think about this. Take Lucy. She has a daughter. We'll call her Josephine. She decides she wants to move to the city and explore the world. So off she goes. When she comes back, she says it's awful. There are robberies and muggings and murders, and she vows never to go back. Is this really the world we want our children to grow up in? Of course not. As we all know, sadly, Notre Dame burnt down earlier this year. Luckily, the world came together to help rebuild it. Investors, including Gucci, Yves Saint Laurent, and L'Oreal, donated millions towards the cause. But when the Amazon rainforest burnt down, no one stepped in to put up a fight. So we were told. But it turns out that the Brazilian Prime Minister had £2.7 million frozen from fund that had been set up earlier in the year. He also declined £18 million. So this was all for political benefit. Now let's move on to something else. Something that has been popping up in news headlines more recently. Mental health and society. In 2019, it is estimated that almost 1.53 million people will die due to social media. Even though companies have been told repeatedly that something has to change, the problem just seems to be getting worse and worse. I know it seems like an issue that if it doesn't affect you, it doesn't matter, but that is a huge lie. The other teams say we will fix it, but we've been trying for so long, then maybe it is something here to stay. But really, a world where we drive people to the edge? But this is not the only cause nowadays. Younger children are exposed to things way too sophisticated and dangerous for them to handle. It is becoming more common for parents in this world of ever-changing opinions to try and convince their children to be the same as them. So see the reality of what we're saying. Okay, these are hard-hitting truths, but they are truths. So get behind reality, live in the real world, and vote against the motion. Thank you.
Thank you all 8 of you. Outstanding speeches. I'm sure the audience heard every word, and you've given us a great deal to think about. And a bit of a bonus that we don't always get in this society is that each speaker has moved on to different points that we didn't hear perhaps from the previous speakers, even if there's a certain amount of overlap. So in our discussion, we're going to try one thing really difficult. We're going to try to make sure that we talk about one point for a while, and then we'll move on to another point. I wonder if we can manage that. So perhaps I will ask you if you want to contribute questions or points about climate change before we move on to other things. I've got a feeling there'll be quite a lot of thought about this. They say they're going to solve it, so it'll be okay. They say we're not, and it's not okay. Fine.
What is climate change?
If you need to go, you're ill, you need to... Judy, on your feet? Off you go. That's not you.
So, these people, you're saying that we can't help the climate change. It's just happening, and everything's going to go worse. But if you just sit there and do nothing, nothing's going to happen. But at least, if you try to change this world, some changes are going to be made.
So, would anyone like to respond?
I'm not saying we're going to be sitting down. Obviously, as a school, we're trying to help, and I am also trying to help. But most of the world aren't doing anything, and you don't see any news reports saying the whole world has suddenly stopped using plastics, do you?
Hey, you want to come back? Lauren?
So, you're saying that you're also trying to help, but from all your speeches, you're saying that you're telling everyone here that we can't help it anymore. So you're stopping the people who are trying to help. And
So by being negative, you feel he's making the situation worse.
yeah.
What do you say to that?
Judy, what we're saying is that there are people trying to do it. But if you look at Greta Thunberg, she sailed to New York, apparently to help this, but then she flew her crew back to England, pumping CO2 back into the air. So yes, there are people trying, but are we really trying hard enough to do something about it? We've known for this problem for a long time, and it still seems to be the same. That proves something.
Yes, is it?
James, you said that in 100 years there won't be any rainforest, but with the current intelligence, and how could you be sure that there won't be any? So how could you make there won't be rainforests?
Well, scientists are it's safe to say that scientists are much smarter than all of us in this room. And they studied that specific topic, and they know much more about it than we do. And Toby mentioned that trees can grow, and yes they do, but can you grow back a rainforest? It takes hundreds of years, and by then, it's estimated the rainforest will already be gone. And the Amazon alone provides 17% of the world's oxygen, so 17% of us in this room will be dead.
No, we have to wait until you're asked, but you can come back and comment on that after another question arises. Yes? Yes?
So basically, I was going to say, yeah, it's actually really interesting. We could always get worse, but then we could stay the same. So by not trying, we just get worse. And by trying, we just stay the same.
Okay, so you're suggesting that, as Henry says, he's doing his bit to help stop climate change. You're saying that's not enough. You're saying that the whole situation is worsening, so a certain amount of effort to stop it isn't enough. We need much more effort. He's saying that that won't happen. They're saying it will. Anybody else wants to talk? Yes. Right.
So we bought a big pack of leafy paper, and then we realised it was killing trees, and then you sent it back to the store. Would they be able to change it into something that would help climate change, or would it already been done and you can't change it?
That's an interesting point. Henry wants to answer.
If you realise only then that it was wrong, you could send it back, but you would then find a website or a store that you could buy recycled paper from.
You can't turn it back into a tree, but maybe you can avoid wasting it perhaps. Yes.
I heard that basically I also heard that people are working hard to try and change the climate change. But we've seen people working hard, but we haven't seen the results of what they have done. They have been trying very hard, we haven't seen the results. Once the results are good, it's not always negative. It can always be positive. And future is bright. Like they said, they are trying to work on advancement. Advancements are being made. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that I agree with them that there is going to be a bright future.
That's very well put, very well done, young man. He's saying that, okay, we are making efforts, but we have not yet seen the results. So you're jumping the gun by saying, no, they can't work. Does anybody want to respond to that? Yeah?
As I said in my speech, I found out that people say in 12 years the changes will be so irreversible that we can't do anything. And the fact that we haven't found out the results yet, means they haven't been finished. If it's taking this long, then we probably won't have enough time.
Okay, we haven't got enough time to wait for the results, is it?
Or do you say that 70% of us will be dead because the Amazon provides 70% of the world's oxygen? But surely humans breathing can't take up 100% of the world's oxygen. And also, most of the world's oxygen comes from algae and I think some seas, and not rainforests.
Yes, 70% of the world's oxygen does come from the algae, but the 17% that the Amazon provides alone, that's just the Amazon, it's not any other rainforest, that will kill a large amount of people, and like, so.
Okay. Yes, Mike.
Can I ask you this question?
Yes, Laura.
When you said that there was a rock
Yes, asteroid. Yes. How come
it wasn't on the news?
was it on the news, Tom?
It was on the news.
Oh, you missed it.
Are you sure?
He's sure. Okay. Yes.
I've been on a kosher and it says
Nice and loud, Arabelle.
I've been on a kosher and it says that this is to count how many trees they planted and it goes up almost like every second. So how is that possible?
How is it possible? It goes to, how many of you know the website, or the search engine, I should say, it goes to lots and lots of them. And I know we've been using it at my classroom, and it says that there are masses of trees being planted. How can there be so many, she asks?
As you may know, there are a lot of human beings in the world, and most of them do like planting trees. Also, the money getting from ads that you see at the side is basically how much is the money that goes to the trees. And so the trees that you see on the counter are planted immediately, but about every 45 searches is a tree. And so that counts and monitors about every 35 searches.
So there are lots and lots and lots of people searching for a great many bits of information. Violet.
If we saw you to write stuff down into use paper, could we like cut pieces of cardboard or would that still hurt the environment? Because cardboard hurt the environment as well.
Anybody in the audience want to offer an answer to that? Yes? Answer. Yes. Nice about, yeah.
I think it's still work because cardboard is very
Yeah, it's the same. It's made of the same materials, so it wouldn't solve your problem. I've got a feeling there are other things we can write on, but don't use paper. Maybe we can use our computers and tablets and what's not. Yes, Dan.
If we stop using the paper or slow down it, would that mean that more people will start using their tablets and phones to write things down?
Well, I suspect it does, so I'm going to answer that one. What do you all think? Do you think we should, maybe you should be, not necessarily going on a school strike to protest, but maybe you should approach your teachers and say, can we not do more on computers and less on bits of paper? We've got a view on that. Leah, do you take your feet off the furniture? This is a debate board. Whatever you think it is. Who's got a view on that? Yes, Mark. No? Anybody? Yes, in fact. Soybeans? Soy paper. I don't know who tells the answer to that. Nobody knows. Something for you to research on calendar.
Sign fever, it hurts doesn't hurt the environment as much, but still hurts it in other ways, but it does use less water.
If you use a lot of land to grow something which you then harvest and use, then there are other things that you can't put on that land. I think that's relevant. Technical.
One of you said that it would be wrong to be optimistic. What's so bad about being optimistic?
So he wants to be optimistic. Don't be so miserable, he said. Come on, what's an answer?
It's very good to be optimistic, but we're giving you the solid hard facts and the truth.
Yes, Arabella again. Something different.
Palm oil plantations take up 10 cents of whatever other oil crops would take up. How is it so bad?
Why is this a problem? Who's going to answer? Yeah, you think they're better?
Because it's not necessarily how much land and countries take up, it's about the orangutans that we kill. So orangutans live in palm oil plantations, and then when we go and cut them down, we're reducing them. And as we know, if we believe evolution, they are what created us, so surely we should be saving them. So that is why it's so bad.
And I think there is an issue with planting one crop in a vast area rather than having diversity. I think that's a bit of a difference. Yes?
Why don't you just use harsher?
Louder, please.
Harsher, like.
But you want to kill all the animals. I think we kill a lot of animals to make even as much paper as I have in my folder. Not partial. So I think that's a difference. Yes, John.
If what you guys are telling us are the solid hard facts and truth, is what they're telling us fake?
Very good question. So, Henry, are they telling us lies? They seem to disagree with you.
They're not telling us lies, but they're telling us truth that is only to their ability. They don't when they're speaking, they don't say the truth that things are going to fail and we're all going to die, because they don't want that to happen.
On Demon's point, why don't we use chalkboards and whiteboards instead of
We do use whiteboards. Okay, I think we've done the paper one. Yes, Thomas.
So, if you both sides have looked up some to find your answers, so how come yours is correct and theirs is just like yours is correct?
So there are statistics, facts and figures, and there are statistics. Are yours more correct than theirs?
Now, you see, they were given for the motion. So they are going to use their time on the web to Google the facts that they want to impress you. We Google the facts that we want to use. They are not going to sit there and Google the wrong facts. So what we are saying is that they have slightly sugar-coated their facts to make you believe, but our facts are not sugar-coated. They are pure facts.
Who wants to question this further? No, this is not your turn. Yes, Chief.
What do you do with
One side.
Well, they're not necessarily sugar-coated, that's how you do it.
In your ears, the sugar paper. Again, now, this time.
How do you know that they're not?
No. One voice up. Tom.
Do you agree with the facts? Do you agree with the facts that they're saying that they're truer than the facts that are you agree with them?
So do you agree with their facts, Maria?
However, they're being pessimistic about it. And although they are saying the facts and being realistic, they are not having hope and realizing that we can change the issues.
Yes,
Have you edited your facts?
when you're thinking about this,
Have you edited your facts?
have you something? I didn't hear the word. I'm so sorry.
Edited.
Oh, edited. Toby, that's it.
We have not edited our facts, and as they said, we have not sugarcoated our facts. We've just taken facts that rely on us actually working to not be destroyed as a civilization.
Okay, so I think on the business of facts, we need to leave that little bit of discussion. And if you want to go further, you need to talk about a particular one. So you won't remember all the numbers they've said, but you might say, you said there were this number of people who died of something or did something, and maybe you could question that fact. But otherwise, let's leave that to Harry.
If you're telling everyone's going to die, aren't you worrying people and worrying people who's going to do things about it when there are injuries?
So you're lowering our morale, you're adding to the problem by frightening us, yes?
I think we all deserve to know the truth, and that is the truth. So, yes.
So, do you
Everyone's going to
want
die.
to speak about it? Emmy, do you want us to be worried and frightened? Is that going to help your cause?
No, I don't think I'm not trying to escape, but as I said, you should know the truth.
Okay. Yes.
So you're not basically saying we should just be up and hide under our covers until we're back?
We should be high under our duvets until we're dead. Yes.
No, we are trying to help the environment, but what we are giving you is the truth, and as Henry said, you deserve to know that. We're not hiding, we're trying to help the environment, but we don't believe that's going to happen.
Okay, so something you'd like to got some hands to come to in a second. You might want to bring in thoughts about other kinds of technology that may or may not improve the world in the future. Liv.
Maria, you said about Boris Johnson and stuff. How do you know this is a result? And are you being a bit optimistic?
So Maria told us that Boris Johnson was going to solve our problems, and Liv thinks she's being rather too optimistic.
Well, I am an optimistic person, and I think that even if we are all going to die, I'm going to live my life at its fullest, and I choose to believe that Boris Johnson will solve all our problems, and I think that you should believe me.
That is optimistic. Camilla.
If you're going to die, then why are you so trying?
Why are you still trying? I think he's really answered that before. I think he said they're doing their best, but you need to know the truth. People we haven't had. Yes, Gigi.
Why are you guys so negative?
I think we will call that a rhetorical question. So I think they tried to answer. We'll register that that's your feeling. Thomas.
So, I saw he got information from the internet and he was copying it down to this debate. So why is it fake and yours the truth?
I think.
So we get true information from the
Yeah, I think the point is, because I think we can't get much further on this, the point is that they had talked about different bits of information. And as you know from the code, there's a lot of information out there. So we can't really establish for certain whether their facts are facts this evening. Ed.
What if we made an equation that could convert CO2 to oxygen? Would you be so sad then?
So Ed is anticipating scientific developments which will suddenly allow us to reverse the climate change problem. Is that right? Well, what do you think then? Henry?
I've got an answer, James.
about what ifs, then the world would be a very different place.
Okay, thank you. Please. No, we can't hear you. Stand up and please.
Are we talking about the future? Not now.
Okay, interesting point. Yes, Ottilie.
If everyone was going to be working computers instead of paper, then it's still like the environment, even with the, like, if you need to make SIM cards, which are a mobile phone, you have to destroy the world to get it from there.
Very good point. Well done. That using computers is also creating problems for the environment of a different sort, perhaps. Tom?
Do you agree that we should keep on trying?
Do you agree that we should keep on trying to improve things?
Well, we should definitely try to keep on improving things. But the state that the world is in now, and in the future, which is what we're talking about, we do not believe, we're giving you the truth, they're very optimistic, but we do not believe that the world is going to, like, get much better.
Thank you. G.
Rather than worrying about it, why don't you get on with the problem?
Why don't we get on with the problem now, instead of worrying about the future? Do you have an answer, or should we leave that one in the end? Let's leave that in the end. Mr. Bracey.
Yeah, I know a fact that Callum gave us, which was that we don't need to worry about technology taking over jobs. The statistics are in 12 to 15 years, just about all driving jobs will go. And also with that, a lot of clerical jobs like lawyers and solicitors will go because of artificial intelligence. So how do you say that we don't need to worry about it and that actually we will be fine now?
Mr. Bracey is right, there won't be enough jobs. That if you, when you grow up, don't have a job, you can imagine that's going to cause you some problems. So, Callum, what do you think about that? He's mentioned two particular kinds of jobs. Driving jobs, if you're not having to drive cars in the same sort of way, and jobs that involve lots of writing down.
Well, when those jobs are taken up, people in those jobs that are not needed anymore, then they will go and fill up with jobs like an architect or civil engineer or something like that. So people who will come from those jobs, there's jobs that need filling up that will be filled up and then robots automate other jobs like those.
Okay, so somebody's going to make the robots, and when we don't need these jobs, other jobs will become available instead, he says. Who's new around here? Let's have Gigi again.
So basically, if we are going to learn about the climate change while still having a sustainable.
I missed the middle. Did you hear that? Go on then, have you got an answer?
As we've said before, we are trying to do things about climate change, but we're telling you the facts now, and they're not looking good.
Okay, Judy.
So, I agree that we are allowed to know the fact. But the thing is, you're using the religion language. You're trying to make us think that everything is getting worse and we can't help it. Just you said that you're trying to make it better anyway, so why are you trying to tell us that it's going worse? And are you just saying that you're doing it since you're slowly to rule?
Okay, well, I think they have answered that though. They've suggested that the work being done to reverse climate change is not enough, and that they can't deal with other countries who are not doing it. Listen.
You said that you're using Google to Google your facts. If you really care about the environment, why don't you use your religion to answer the question?
Yes, but
Because I'm afraid, you see, our beliefs haven't got all the facts we need. You've got the right useful thing out of it. It's very easy to get the facts. It's a great thing to rely on. Casey. Casey says a lot.
thank you, Tony.
So, as you mentioned, the so-called is and practice of the global warming. But if more and more people will start going to school, will
he's very worried about this action day, because if people don't go to school, they won't be educated and we won't have a brighter future. What do you think?
As she has said in many of her speeches, she and all the other kids will happily go to school once they have a future. Because otherwise they'd be going to school, learning all this stuff, just about to get their first job, and bam, mass extinction, humanity's gone.
Thank you. Yes, I can see you got it. Yes, oh, Zan, yes.
If we stop using paper, and if we start using technology, most people are saying that technology is bad for us, so what would be the backup?
The backup. You want to answer that, Marianne?
Well, at the moment, we have not made a backup, but as we have realized, the majority of the people here already have phones and computers, and social media is the thing that really ruins our mental health. Whereas if we write stuff down and do work on it, I don't think that will harm us.
Okay, so I want to add a question here myself. If you're saying you're going to rely on social media, but they harm us, have we got a brighter future? Could you clarify that, Maria?
Yes.
Are you for or against social media? Do you think?
I think that social media does, that is a fact that social media harms people's mental health. However, it is getting better, and for example, Instagram and Facebook has deleted likes, so no one can see how many likes you get, so people don't get upset about the amount of likes.
Okay, so at the moment they're causing a lot of trouble, but you're optimistic that new ways will come in that will prevent the problems with social media, and therefore they'll become good for you. Okay, yes.
There's lots of plastic in the ocean. It's 2 times France. And most of it is under the sea. Are you gonna take all 2 times France out of the sea?
2 times the size of France,
Yes.
you're saying? Is that much plastic in the oceans? What are you going to do about it?
We're going to do a lot of work, Simon.
Is anybody with a hand up who hasn't spoken already? So yes, Ignacio.
You said you were going to make global warming be better, but how are you going to make that? You can't just go to every person you see and say stop using your car or something like that.
Okay, so do you have a way, any of you, to reduce global warming quickly enough to prevent the problems there? Yes, Becky.
We are going to have more people like Elon Musk who they're going to think of ways, better ways, safer ways, to replace the ways which we now need down the road. I'm going to say the world, and I think it's going to be amazing. Okay?
Okay, you are the people who are going to save the world. Heck.
Last week's lecture on Can I Am. Last week's lecture on Can I Am should that inspire us to help save the world?
Do you not feel inspired? Do you think we can manage it? We're here and we've got brains in here and outside for moving.
We're being negative and saying we shouldn't. Well, we're not. But we're trying to stop them from being complete optimists. Because you're a complete optimist. You're going to go, oh, you only live once, so I'm going to go and do some cliff diving. But then you don't realise that you can't swim and you should drown.
Do you think optimism is a dangerous quality? It's Daniel.
As Maria said, Boris Johnson will solve everything. Will he, or is Greta Thunberg making a difference?
So Boris Johnson or Greta Thunberg? It's an interesting choice.
Well, Boris Johnson is going to solve the political problems, whereas
Good, thank you. Tanya?
Usually, yeah, the future of our world contains some robots and things that will happen, but that we don't have to do something now.
Can you say it one more time, Tanya? Really loud, please.
Okay. Do you believe that the future depends on robots and things that will happen that we don't know now?
Depends on robots, yeah?
And yeah, things that will happen.
And things that haven't happened yet, but will happen. Are you relying on robots and future inventions? Is that what you mean? Bertie?
No, Tanya, we are relying on you pushing for the motion to save the world.
We don't need robots, Tanya. We have you. Liv?
You said that robots. You said about robots doing jobs up. Surely it will affect the environment having to make all of these new.
So making them is going to produce more problems, more emissions.
Yeah, surely that will be bad.
So does that mean that making robots is a problem? Thank you.
No, because it's like what Regis said about solar panels. They pay off for once you make them. Yeah, it will affect the environment. Once you make them, they pay off more than something else than using coal, which doesn't pay off. So once you made a robot, it may affect the environment, but then once it's made, it will start paying off its own.
So it will repay you. So you'll save in other ways because you've used some resources and what have you to make it. We're coming up to the last few. Judy? Josh?
So can we just say about robots taking over the world? You're saying that we can control them, but how do you know if you make a robot that is something like probably like 80% human, then they might do their own thing. Then how do you know you're going to control them? Like, Korea can say that Russia is going to go better. So there doesn't mean you can go back to Russia, but the robot is not cool.
Okay, so Cameron told us robots are not going to be a threat, they're not going to take over the world, and Judy wants to know how he's so sure.
When we make them, we can put a program in, or with AI that's developing, we can put something in that will stop them from having these, like a running order, that will stop them from taking over the world.
So you're going to program them not to do that. Good. Josh?
Once, when Mr. Gracie said that cars will be completely gone, taxi driver, and if there's jobs like architects, engineers, you will not have to have some kind of degree to go into a job like that before you go into that.
So,
Will that not improve?
okay, so some taxi drivers won't have these skills to do that, he says. What's your answer?
Then, as robots and others can teach, you can teach them to do something, and they might, even though they might be a taxi driver, then they just might not know that they have the skills to do. So they might have the capability to do something that's that they don't know about because they've just been a taxi driver.
And I think it's true to say that there might be jobs of different skill levels. The last question is for you.
How do you think one generation is going to fix something that's like 4 generations have done?
So how do you mean how are we going to make improvements in one generation where the last 4 generations have seen problems? Yeah? How is your generation going to solve it when mine has failed?
So we might not solve it completely. We're going to start solving it. Because if no one starts, then it will never be able to be solved. But if someone starts, then we can, even though we might not solve it completely, it will kickstart to our next generation and the generation after that. So someone's got to start with.
Thank you very much. That's a good place to finish. I'm sorry we had to turn down a few people whose hands are up. We're going now to hear the summing up from the 2 lead speakers, and then you'll have a chance to vote. When we get to that, we'll be very, very quiet and swift and efficient, because that way we'll get through the voting without missing our subject. So I now invite Mr. Hughes to sum up the proposition.
If anybody were to make the blunder of voting against the motion, they would be becoming a terrible, cowardly, wrong pessimist. They would basically be throwing away all hope and giving up. With that ridiculous attitude, of course the world would be destroyed in no time, as the person would be surrendering the moment they voted and making no effort. If everybody did that, who knows? Maria might even get her own pet robot. She wanders around firing missiles to speak political James. I mean, then we'd really be in trouble, but this I thought might happen. We want to prevent this disaster, so vote for the motion. Become one of the brave heroes who has a bright future, in which not necessarily everything will be perfect, but which will certainly be better.
I suppose everyone knows about Greta Thunberg. Many people are listening to and believe in her. But in fact, she's only a child. She doesn't know that much about climate change, but scientists do, not her. On North actually, a lot of children are out there just to party and have fun, whilst we're in school, because they don't believe in what they're actually fighting for, which Bertie would say, but he is wrong, as we know. As you heard from us all, we are stressing the points about climate change, terrorism, deforestation, AI, tech, external problems, politics, and society. But there are many more that we didn't mention. Callum said that we're developing products, that the speed we're developing products is good. But at this speed, it will quickly harm us. With the new iPhone 13, which is an unlucky number, and will probably end up killing us. I did have one suffering, but P&J stole my tube, so just remember to vote against the motion for the tube.
Thank you to my colleagues, and here is the result. And by the way, we applaud the result, we don't cheer and stand. The opposition scored a handsome 30 votes. The motion is carried by exactly twice that number, 60 to 30. Great result. Well done, everyone.